Hey everyone, welcome back to another deck idea brought to you by Dbscg. As always, if you enjoy the video, be sure to like, leave a comment and subscribe. Today we're going to be going over a new character introduced in Saiyan Showdown, which is Finn. They've definitely given this leader some new skills, some interesting skills as a grand introduction into this character. Starting off with the leader, we've got Auto. When this card attacks, draw one card. Auto. When a card is placed under this card, draw one card. Add cards from your life to your hand until you have 6 life left and flip this card over. So we're not going straight into the Awaken skill there, but it is a way to flip this card to its backside. Activate main once per turn. If all of your energy is black, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and place it under this card. And then we have the Awaken. When your life is at 4 or less, you may draw 2 cards and flip this card over. So yeah, a couple of different skills onto this leader. We've got the option to put a card underneath the leader with the activate main on your turn, which can trigger this kind of alternative way to get to your backside. You're not going to get the draw 2 cards, but you at least get the draw 1. But alternatively, you can go down to 4 life and then draw 2 cards and flip over. On the Awaken side, we have permanent. This card gets plus 5,000 power for each card under it. Auto, at the end of your turn, play all of the battle cards under this card in your opponent's battle area with their skills negated for the game. Then place all cards under this card in the owner's drop area. Activate main once per turn. If all of your energy is black, draw 1 card, then choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and place it under this card. Choose up to 1 keyword skill on a card under this card, and this card gains that skill for the turn. Similar to how we saw with the green Boo deck, being able to steal your opponent's cards, being able to gain the effects from your opponent's cards, similar to absorbing in the show and things like that. But yeah, really strong. This doesn't have any kind of energy requirement on that battle card. You just need to be able to steal it. Yeah, so really strong. Yeah, quite a good effect. We don't need to attack to draw, and then we're getting that plus 5,000 power for every card underneath. Yeah, really strong. That permanent's on both opponents' turns. And then, yeah, at the end of the turn, we're going to be playing those cards in the opponent's battle area with their skills negated for the game. Really strong. Starting off with the deck, we go into the Super Combo. Pretty standard for black decks. SS Vegeta, the Prince strikes back. Super Combo, if your leader is black, your life is 4 or less, and all your energy is black. When this card is used in a combo, it gets plus 10,000 combo power for the battle. You may choose 1 card in your hand, place it at the bottom of the deck, and then you get to draw 2 cards. So start cycling through any dead cards you might have. The secret rare, we have Heroine's Lineage. We're not going to be using the activate main for 5 energy in this deck. We want to focus on this activate battle. If your opponent has 3 or more energy, choose one of your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost of 7 or less and gain control of it. Really strong for 1 energy. If your opponent's swinging in for game with a battle card that doesn't have barrier, you can kind of interrupt that battle and steal it. Really, really good. Super Kamehameha, another 1 cost card. This is an extra card. Counterplay, if your leader is black and your life is at 4 or less, if the battle card being played has an energy cost of 3 or less, it is sent to the owner's warp instead of being played. If you only have black cards in your energy and your life is at 4 or less, you can activate this card's counter skill from your hand by adding a card from your life to your hand instead of paying its energy cost. Really strong. We see a lot of good floodgates and a lot of board wipes and things like that have their energy cost energy cost reduced in hand, bring it down to 2-3 costs, so being able to stop those cards from being played. Really strong. You could run this card at 1 or 2, depending on preference. Petrification, a card we saw from Universal Onslaught, set 9. Counterattack, if your leader is black, negate the attack. You may choose 1 card from your hand and place it in the drop area. If you placed a card in your drop area, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and it can't attack, be placed in your opponent's combo area or activate its skills until the end of your next turn. So really strong. If your opponent's got battle cards with skills that might interrupt your turn, you can counter attack on your opponents, remove those skills, or at least prevent them from activating them, just by ditching a card and paying 1 energy. So a good option there. We're getting through barrier as well. Not that we need to worry about barrier Bojack Aegis anymore, but if cards come up to take its place, yeah, this card will be really good again, but still has its place. Dabura, Darkness Perfected, another card from Universal Onslaught. Counterplay, play this card. Permanent, if all of your energy is black, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand and drop area by 1, so bringing it down to a 2 cost. Auto, during your opponent's turn, when you play this card, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and it can't attack or activate its skills for the duration of the turn. Really strong if your opponent's playing a big boss monster or something that has a really strong activate main, things like that. We can kind of counterplay and prevent that card from attacking or activating the skills. Dark Power Black Mask Saiyan, a card that we've kind of seen trickle its way back into main decks. A really strong card. When you attack with this card, you may add 1 card from your life to your hand. If you do, this card gets plus 10,000 power for the duration of the turn. But the reason that we play this card is when your opponent plays a battle card with 15,000 power or less using a non-keyword skill, your opponent chooses 2 cards from their hand and places them in the drop area. Really strong if we're seeing a lot of decks, play cards through autos, through activate mains, things like that, off leader. So this can be really punishing. Yeah, definitely a good card. SS3 Son Goku, Man on a Mission, Overwhelm, Critical, Double Strike. Not a whole lot of text on this card, but some really good effects. 20k critical and double strike, yeah, difficult for your opponent to get through, either force a super combo or, force two 5ks, depending if you combo or not. But yeah, really strong. We do need some kind of overwhelm into this deck, which we'll get into later. But yeah, a good card. We've kind of seen this get replaced now by Fighting Against Fate, opting for that 25k dual attack. But I think this card kind of fits this deck a little bit better, and I'll explain why a little bit more later on. Ultimate minus energy Powerball, 1 cost extra card. Counter attack, if your leader is mono black, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with 15,000 power or less, ignoring barrier, and send it to the owner's warp. Permanent, this card gains Shadow Dragon in all areas. And permanent, if you have a black Unison card in play, you can activate this card's counter skill from your hand without paying its energy cost. And we have Activate Main / Battle Limit 1. Choose up to one of your black leader cards or choose up to one of your black leader cards or battle cards, and it gets plus 15,000 power until the end of the battle or end of the turn, whichever comes first. Yeah, really strong, just automatically being able to warp something that's 15,000 power or less for 1 energy, or even for free if we have that Unison in play, which we do run a Unison. We're a couple cards away from that, but really strong. Yeah, I think this card will be seen in a lot of black decks upcoming. Another extra card, 1 cost, Absorption of Doom. Counterattack, if your leader card is a black Finn card, negate the attack. Additionally, if your opponent has a skillless battle card or Unison in play, they can only attack 2 more times for the turn. Permanent, if your opponent has 2 or more battle cards in play, you can activate this card's counter skill from your hand without paying its energy cost by choosing 1 other black card in your hand and discarding it. Really strong, yeah, so being able to kind of limit the attacks on your opponent's turn is good. Yeah, they can only attack 2 more times for the turn in general, so that's across all cards, and this card does negate the attack. So yeah, really strong. We're able to negate that first attack, and then from then on, we're limiting the opponent to 2 more attacks for the turn. We similar to how we saw with Dormant Potential, in that we had to deal with the first initial attack since Dormant didn't negate the attack, and then they got 1 more attack from there. But this one's a bit more, a bit more broadcasted. The opponent knows that they only have 2 more attacks for the turn. Once this is kind of brought out, discarding. Where was it? Sorry. Yeah, being able to discard 1 card from hand to play it for free. Well, not play it for free, but play it without paying its energy cost is pretty good as well. Next, we have the Unison for the deck. Skill Hunter Majin Buu, 2 cost, specified black. Permanent, your opponent's skillless cards can't attack this card. Auto, once per turn if it's your turn. When a skillless battle card or Unison card is played in your opponent's battle area or Unison area, draw 1 card. +1, activate main, this card gets plus 5,000 power for the turn. And -1, activate main, if your leader is a black Finn card, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and place it under your leader card. Really strong. Yeah, we've got some cards that interact with the opponent's battle cards, and kind of when they go back, they don't have their skills. So we're able to draw a card here, being able to bring this up to 20k and swing into opponent's leader. Really good, puts some good pressure on. But yeah, the -1's really good as well, to we can start getting cards under the leader card and getting the plus 5,000 power on leader. And yeah, the permanent attached to this is pretty good as well. Those skillless cards that we're giving back to the opponent aren't able to swing into the unison, so it stops them from being able to remove markers as easily as other unisons. 1 cost, Dabura Demonic Defender, 4k. Permanent, if your opponent has a skillless battle card or unison in play, this card gains barrier and blocker, and when it gets played, draw 1. Yeah, again, we're seeing, some skillless battle card or unison card interaction. We're going to be giving our opponent their cards back at the end of turn and things like that. And they're going to come back with their skills negated. So that's why a lot of these cards interact with skillless battle cards or unisons. Demon God Dabura Skill Hunter, 20k, 3 cost, auto, limit 1. When this card attacks, draw 1 card. And we have the activate main for 1 black. If your opponent has a skillless battle card or unison in play this card from your hand. I think this card's really good. We're definitely going to want to have one of these cards out at all times. Being able to attack and draw that additional card every turn is quite strong, and your opponent has to deal with that 20k battle card. So yeah, I definitely think a couple of copies of this card will find its place in the deck. Next we have Toa, Calling the Hordes. Auto, when this card is played, look at up to 5 cards from the top of your deck, add up to 1 black android or demon realm race card with an energy cost of 3 or less, or 1 black unison with a specified cost of 2 among them to your hand, then shuffle your deck. Activate main Spirit Boost for 1 black energy. If your leader is a black Fin card, place up to 1 card under your leader card in its owner's drop area. So yeah, pretty good. We're getting quite a bit of search on this initial auto. There's quite a few cards that we can kind of pull out from that top 5, which is always good. We want this deck to be as consistent as possible. And then we've got the activate main Spirit Boost attached to it as well. Yeah, pretty good. 2 cost, Skill Hunter Toa, counterattack, Spirit Boost 1, play this card. Permanent, if it's your opponent's turn and they have a skillless battle card or unison in play, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 1, bringing it down to a 1 cost. Auto, if your leader is a black Fin card, when this card is played, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost of 4 or less and place it under your leader card. So yeah, pretty good there. We're able to counter attack, play this card, and then the auto will trigger if the battle card that was attacking, for example, was 4 or less. We can end the battle there by putting it under our leader, or if there's something else that still has a couple of attacks left in it, we're able to choose that and put it under our leader, giving our leader that 5k. So yeah, some sneaky interactions there again, if your opponent's not expecting it. Next we see the SR for the deck. 2 cost, Fin Coercion Incarnate. Deflect, if your leader is black, when this card is played from your hand, your opponent chooses 1 of their battle cards, then you choose the rest of their battle cards and send it to the owner's war. Really strong, so it's a almost board wipe, but we're allowing our opponent to keep 1 battle card on the field. Obviously, they're going to keep the most important battle card that they have and allow you to remove the rest. But if they've got a bunch of 15k attackers and things like that, we're able to just warp pretty much all of them, allow them to have 1, and we have other cards that can interact with single battle cards as well. So yeah, really strong. It's got deflect, it's going to hit the field. Very good. 2 cost, Fin Unison Absorber. Pretty easy to tell what this card's going to do based on the name, but we've got auto, 1 specified black. If your opponent has a skillless battle card or unison in play, at the end of a battle in which this card was used in a combo from your hand, play this card from your drop area in rest mode. Auto, if your leader is a black Fin card, when this card is played, you may choose 1 of your opponent's unison cards and place it under this card. If you do, this card can't be used in a combo can't be used in a combo this turn, and at the end of the turn, play the unison card under this card in your opponent's unison area with 2 markers on it, and its skills negated for the game. Incredibly strong card. We haven't seen a whole lot of cards that interact with unisons at this point. We saw Zamasu the Eliminator, and that didn't last a whole while before it was errated, just because of how strong unison interaction can be. We're getting additional effects by giving the opponent the unison on the other side of the field. We're able to draw 1 from our unison. A lot of our battle cards require a skillless battle card or Unison, so this card's going to be an absolute staple in this deck. And yeah, I think it's going to be very frustrating to play around if you're going up against Finn. Getting that Unison back, yeah, sure, that's great, but it is going to have 2 markers on it and its skills negated for the game. As we've seen with Unisons, the only way to reset that is by minusing markers as well. So yeah, plussing markers onto this, putting one underneath or anything is not going to reset those skills. We're going to need to minus a marker before it gets reset. Very strong. Next we have 8 cost Finn, the All Absorbing, 25k. Auto Spirit Boost 1. If your leader card is a black Finn card, when this card is played, choose all your opponent's battle cards ignoring barrier and place them under your leader. Activate main for 3 black energy. If you have 4 or more energy and you place a card under your leader card in the owner's drop area, play this card from your hand. Activate main once per turn. Play 1 card, place 1 card under your leader card in its owner's drop area, switch this card to active mode. Yeah, very good. We're able to put a bunch of different cards underneath the leader. The opponent will get them back at the end of turn with their skills negated. But yeah, very strong. We're able to use those cards to kind of get additional effects. The activate main, so placing 1 card under your leader in its owner's drop area and then being able to switch this card to active mode, so essentially a dual attack. We're able to, I guess, pick the most troublesome card that we've absorbed from our opponent's field, and then rather than them getting it back at the end of the turn, we're just going to put it straight in the drop area and say you can't have that card back. Now moving on to a bit of the tech for the deck, which I think a lot of people will start putting in, is this kind of mirror chain. It's not one that I'm overly familiar with. I haven't used this in the past before, but I have come across that Mirror Creator Absorb, which will be the last card that we go over, and just how powerful that is. And how we get that card out is through a bunch of different cards, starting with Mirror Faithful Servant. Activate main. If you don't have any battle cards in play, play this card from your hand, so we don't have to pay the 2 energy required there. Activate main for 3 energy. Choose up to 1 mirror card with an original energy cost of 5 in your hand and place it on top of this card. So we've got we've got one option, that we can play over this card, but a couple of different options to kind of get to this big 7 cost. Starting off with Mirror Vow to the Creator. So Overwhelm 3, when this card is played, draw 1 card, then choose 1 card in your hand and send it to your warp. Union Absorb for 3 black energy. If you have 4 or more energy and you place 1 Toa card from your warp under this card. If your leader is a Toa or Android card, choose up to 1 mirror card with an energy cost of 7 or less in your hand or warp and play it on top of this card in active mode. I did mention before we needed to run some kind of overwhelm in this deck. The reason for that is we need that Toa card in the warp. So yeah, if we are unable to get this card, but we have the other, we do still have the option to get that Toa into the warp. The good thing about this card though is it is only Overwhelm 3, and we get to draw a card and then choose 1 card in hand and send it to warp. So that can be the Toa that we have. If we have it in hand, then we automatically have the Toa in the warp for the Union Absorb. Yeah, so then next we have Mirror Self-Reformation. Double strike, Union Absorb, choose 1 Toa card in your warp, place it under this card. Again, same kind of thing. We need that card, we need that Toa in the warp. If your leader is a Toa or Android card, choose up to 1 mirror card in your deck with an energy cost of 7, play it in active mode on top of this card, then shuffle your deck. Deflect and permanent. If you have 10 or more black cards in your warp, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 1. So this is a card that we can kind of use for that activate main, being able to play out the mirror on top of this card for 3 energy. Really strong. It's got deflect, so it's going to hit the field. Only a couple of cards can kind of get past that with autos, but we do then have the 20k double strike to swing into our opponent. And when we activate that Union Absorb, we get to play the next card in active mode on top of this card. And that card is Mirror Creator Absorbed, a big beast that we've seen in the past, came out in set 4. It did kind of get a small errata here, but I will read over the effect. So Overwhelm 4 for 1 energy, Deflect, and Auto. When you play this card using Union, your opponent chooses 3 cards from their hand, sends them to the warp, and this card gains double strike for the duration of the turn. And when this card attacks, this card gets plus 5,000 power for each card in your warp for the duration of the turn. So really strong effect. You know, if we've got, let's just say 10 cards in the warp, we're getting a plus 50k here. We're ripping 3 cards from our opponent's hand if we're playing it with the Union Absorb skills. It's got Deflect, so overall an absolute beast of a card. You know, it can be very difficult to kind of get through this card if they are able to swing 80k double strike, and you know, not including whatever they dump from hand. A card we've seen in the past, and yeah, I think this will be a card that we see in this deck moving forward. But other than that, yeah, if you've got any ideas that can make this deck better, I'm not overly familiar with this deck. Definitely going to require a couple of play testing once I get the cards in hand. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.